Before, Rizal claimed the hearts of Filipinos by being the national hero of the country. He first claimed the hearts of many women. Being the natural charmer that he was, there were at least 9 women linked with him. Segunda Katigbak, Leonor Valenzuela, Leonor Rivera, Consuelo Ortiga Ire, Oseisan, Gertrude Beckett, Suzanne Jacobi, Nella Busted, and Josephine Bracken. This woman might have been beguiled by his intelligence and charm.
I am Segunda Katigbak. I was 14 years old when I met Rizal. I am Jose Rizal's first crush, first love, and first heartbreak.
Segunda Katigbak was rather short, with eyes that were eloquent and ardent at times, and languid at others. Rosy cheek, with an enchanting and provocative smile that revealed very beautiful teeth, and the hair of a sea lip. Her entire self diffused a mysterious charm.
Rizal's sister Olympia was a close friend of Segunda and a student at La Concordia College, and Rizal went to visit her every week, during which he came to know Segunda more intimately. Their affection for each other grew deeper with every meeting, one that began with love at first sight. Unfortunately, Segunda was already engaged to be married to her townmate Manuel Luz, and although Rizal had gotten hints of the lady's affection for him, he timidly decided to back away, did not propose. Years later, Segunda returned to Lipa, leaving a frustrated Rizal to the mercy of his nostalgic memories. Rizal said while recording his first romance 3 years later, "Ended at an early hour, my first love, my virgin heart, will always mourn the reckless step it took on the flower-decked abyss. My illusions will return, yes, but indifferent, uncertain, ready for the first betrayal on the path of love."
I am Leonor Valenzuela, and Rizal called me Orang as my pen name. I met Rizal in the house of Doña Concha Leiva in Intramuros.
Leonor Valenzuela was a tall woman, a regal bearing.
Rizal was always welcome at the Valenzuela home. He eventually courted Leonor by sending her love notes, which he wrote in invisible ink made from a mixture of water and table salt. He taught Leonor how to read his letters by hitting them over a lamp or a candle to allow these words to surface. Unfortunately, as with his first love, Jose failed to ask for the lady's hand in marriage.
I am Leonor Rivera. I was the woman behind Maria Clara, one of the main characters from Camiling, cousin of Jose Rizal, and I was met him when I was 13 years old. I was a boarding student at the Colegio de la Inmaculada Concepcion, together with Olympia and Segunda Katigbak.
Leonor Rivera is a tender as a budding flower with kindly and wistful eyes.
Unfortunately, Jose Rizal had to go to Europe to pursue his studies. The relationship that existed between the two was long distance because it was actually a love affair by correspondence. To keep their love alive, they corresponded for 5 years starting when Rizal went to Europe in 1882, and Rizal stayed in Europe for a long time. Because of this, Jose Rizal had forgotten what Leonor Rivera was like. Their love faded when Rizal went back to the Philippines.
I am Consuelo Ortiga A. Ray that fell in love with Jose Rizal. I was the daughter of Don Pablo Ortiga, Councilor of the Philippines.
I found comfort in Consuelo's vivacious company. I wrote her a poem entitled A la Señorita Consuelo Ortega y Perez, or to Miss Consuelo Ortega y Perez, in which I expressed my great admiration for her.
In 1882, when Rizal was a student at the Universidad Central de Madrid, he frequented the home of Don Pablo Ortiga y Rey, Consular of the Philippines. He lived with his son, Rafael, and his daughter, Consuelo. Rizal, though he wasn't a handsome man, possessed a great deal of charisma and was gifted with many talents and a deeply noble character. For this reason, it is no surprise that Consuelo, the prettier of Don Pablo's daughters, was very taken with him. Rizal's romance with Consuelo did not turn into a serious affair. He decided to take a step back for two reasons. First, he was still engaged to Leonor Rivera at that time, and second, he was aware of his friend Eduardo Dilete affection for the girl, and he did not want to ruin their friendship over her.
I am Osei-san from Tokyo, Japan. I was 23 years old when I met Rizal, and he is my first love.
All Seisan have the color of camellia, its freshness and its elegance. To you, I dedicated the final chapter of these memories of my youth. No woman like you has ever sacrificed for me, like the flower of chaji that falls from the stem fresh and whole without falling leaves or without withering, with poetry still despite its fall. Thus you fell.
When Rizal was in Tokyo a few days after he had moved to Azabu district in 1888, he spotted a pretty Japanese girl walking past the Legion Gate. He was captured by the lady's regal air and charisma to find ways to meet her. Rizal and Osei-san, as he fondly called her, met almost daily. They toured the beautiful city spots, enjoyed the scenery, and visited the picturesque shrine. Rizal was then a lonely young physician, disillusioned by his frustrated romance with Leonora Vera and burdened by sordid hopes for justice in his country. Osei-san provided the beautiful escape that he deeply needed, and he saw in her the qualities of his ideal woman. Unfortunately, they just have to say sayonara for each other, because Rizal was also offered a good position at the Spanish legation during at that time. Rizal, however, had set his sight on other matters. He decided to leave Japan and forget his romance, which pained him gravely as attested by an entry in his diary. His 45 days sojourn in Japan was one of the happiest interludes in his life.
I am Gertrude Beckett. My friend call me Getty or Toti. I am only 18 years old when I fell in love with Jose Rizal. We met at boarding house of our family in London.
Gertrude Beckett has a blue eyes and buxom girl.
In May 1888, Rizal visited London for a short time, boarding the house of the Beckett family, Mr. and Mrs. Beckett. Gertrude went along with Rizal. She brought him breakfast on a tray every morning. Rizal enjoyed her company. Eventually, their flirtatious friendship drifted towards a blossoming romance. He affectionately called her Getty, and in return, she called him Petty. Unfortunately, Rizal withdrew his feelings before having a relationship with Gertrude, realizing that he had a greater mission to fulfill.
I am Suzanne, the Belgian woman who fell in love with Rizal. We met when he decided to move to Brussels because of the high cost living in Paris.
On January 28, 1890, Rizal left for Brussels, Belgium. He stayed for a considerable time, paying for room and board. His landladies had a pretty niece named Petite Suzanne Jacobi. She was taken by Rizal's charm and gallantry, and provided him good company. Rizal could have flirted with the lady, considering that his beloved Lenore was far away, and he was a lonely man in a strange and foreign land, but he realized he could not deceive her. Suzanne cried when Rizal left Brussels and wrote him when he was in Madrid.
Where are you now? Do you think of me once in a while? I am reminded of our tender conversations, reading your letter, although it is cold and indifferent. Here in your letter, I have something which makes up for our absence. How I please I will be to follow you, to travel with you, who are always in my thoughts. You wish me all kinds of luck, but forget that in the case of the absence of a beloved one, a tender heart cannot feel happy. A thousand things serve to distract your mind, my friend, but in my case, I am sad, lonely, always alone with my thoughts. Nothing, absolutely nothing relieves my sorrow. Are you coming back? That's what I want and desire most ardently. You cannot refuse me. I do not despair and I limit myself to murmuring against time which runs so fast when it carries us toward a separation, but goes so slowly when it's bringing us together again. I feel very unhappy thinking that perhaps I might never see you again. Goodbye. You know with one word you can make me very happy. Aren't you going to write to me?
I am Nelly Bustid, a daughter of Filipina and a wealthy French-English merchant whose house was frequented by Filipinos in France, Mr. Eduardo Bustid.
Nelly Bustid is intelligent and a woman who had similar attributes to a typical Filipina.
In 1891, Rizal took a vacation in Biarritz in order to find reprieve from his troubles in Madrid. He was a guest of the Busted family in their winter residence, Villa Eliada. Mr. and Mrs. Busted had two beautiful daughters, Adelina and Nelly. Antonio Luna, who was the brother of Juan Luna, was also deeply in love with Nelly Busted. However, Nelly had a great infatuation with Rizal. When Rizal and Antonio had a chance to talk each other, Antonio expressed his disappointment on his failed romance with Nelly. When Antonio Luna was sober, he apologized to Rizal. After having lamented his frustrated romance with Leonor Rivera on account of the lady's engagement to another man, Rizal came to develop considerable affection for Nelly, the prettier and younger daughter of Mr. Eduardo Busted. Rizal wrote to his closest friends about his intention to marry her. Rizal's marriage proposal failed for two reasons. First, Nelly demanded that he give up his Catholic faith and convert to Protestantism, which was her religion. Rizal did not like this idea. Second, Nelly's mother did not approve of Rizal, as she had no desire to entrust her daughter to a man who was wanting in wealth and persecute his own country. In spite of the circumstances, Rizal and Nelly parted as a good friends.
I am Josephine Bracken, the daughter of an Irishman named Joseph Bracken. I am the common law wife from the day when Rizal exiled in Dapitan.
Josephine Bracken is an 18-year-old petite Irish girl with bold blue eyes, brown hair, and a happy disposition.
Josephine Bracken arrived at the shores of the Pitan accompanying her blind adoptive father, Mr. George Toffer. No ophthalmologist in Hong Kong, their home country, could cure the man's blindness, and so they saw the services of famous Dr. Rizal. Rizal and Josephine fell in love at first sight. Their romantic interlude went on for about a month, after which they decided to marry. The priest of the Pitan, however, refused to conduct the ceremony without consent of the Bishop of Cebu. Mr. Toffer went back to Hong Kong alone, and Josephine stayed in Manila with Rizal's family. At length, she returned to the Pitan. Since no priest would marry them, Rizal and Josephine held hands, exchanged vows, and married themselves before God. Rizal and Josephine lived together in the Pitan as husband and wife, and in early 1896, they were expecting a baby. Unfortunately, Josephine had to go into premature labor about Rizal played a prank and frightened her. A little boy of 8 months was born, who lived for only 3 hours. Rizal named him Francisco in honor of his father and buried the child in the Pitan. Unfortunately, the relationship ended when Rizal executed at Bagumbayan, and according to Rizal, Josephine is her wife until his last breath.
But at the end, Rizal's true love was no one else but his country. Rizal's life was cut short at the age of 35. According to historian Ambet Ocampo, in one of Rizal's love letters about our countries, he said, "I have always loved my poor country, and I am sure that I shall love her until my last moment. Perhaps some people will be unjust to me. Well, my future, my life, my joys, everything I have sacrificed for love of her. Whatever my fate will be, I shall die blessing my country and wishing her the dawn of her redemption. Happen what may, I shall die blessing her and desiring the dawn of her redemption."